All right. Morning, guys. Just a reminder to start this morning about the January 12th meeting. We talked about it last week. We're going to talk about it every Tuesday between now and then so that nobody forgets that we all need to be there. Kind of a quiet weekend, snow coming. We should have a good week ahead of us. We need to get some plows on display because they sold that one. I'm going to let Mike start us off this morning. Mike's got a few thoughts for us.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Yeah, so I know we got a lot of deals going on last week prior, and that we just got hit pretty hard this week too. So just want to make sure we're keeping the communication up between all the departments, make sure everything's flowing nice. I know there's a lot of accessory builds and stuff like that now. So with Bailey being here, we should be pretty good with the receiving parts, keeping everything moving pretty smoothly. So if you got any questions or anything, make sure we're communicating. So that's what I got.
Okay. We have a video this morning, and it kind of relates to exactly what Mike's talking about with working between departments. So that's fun timing. It's only 3 minutes.
Let's talk for a minute about warm handoffs between your departments. Before we do, can you focus on this? I would love to tell you that this is my local dealership and look at the mess they made of my electrical system, but this is, my guys down at Fay Myers, they take care of me, they do it all right. This is me. I did this. I created this mess. So as I'm trying to install another pigtail for my heated gear, I'm the only one to blame here, but this is where I like to spend my time. Warm handoffs, let's discuss that for a little bit. What is a warm handoff between departments? What does that actually mean? Well, a lot of people think a warm handoff is just basically walking up to the counter and saying, Jim, this is Mike. Mike's looking for a set of Reinhardt black tip pipes. Jim will get you set up, and they walk away. Maybe you think that. Maybe you think that's what a warm handoff is. And I suggest to you that that's a better warm handoff than no warm handoff. It's a better warm handoff than no warm handoff, but it's not nearly as good at warm handoff as it could be. Why? What's missing? Did that warm handoff have to do with a person, or did it have to do with product? Let me say it again, and I forgot the names, but Mike, this is Jim. He's looking for a set of Reinhardt black tip pipes. This is Mike. He'll get you all set up. Was there a person component to that, or was it just a thing? I suggest to you that it was just a thing. And the problem is, when it's just a thing, we don't know anything about the guy as far as why he's looking for that particular product. So, a better warm handoff would be one that is what I call right side related, which is relative to the person, right? Which means finding out something about the person so that when I go introduce Mike and Jim to each other, I can say, hey, Mike, this is Jim, and he needs some Reinhardt black tip pipes. Did you know that you guys went to the same high school together? Or you guys grew up in the same town? Or you're both Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans, right? You're the two. Right? Who knew? Something personal about them, because as soon as you do that, all the friction is gone, and all of a sudden we're two people just chatting and hanging out. So when you're doing a warm handoff, a true warm handoff has to do with engaging the person and finding out some personal information about them before you turn them over. Now, some of you are probably thinking right now, well, I don't have time. I only have the time from when I walked in the store to when I got to the parts counter, right? That's not enough time to find out something personal about him. I would suggest to you that's because you're getting into the product conversation way too fast. Before he told you, I'm here for a clutch cable, I'm here for a pigtail for a heated gear, before he said that, what engaging conversation were you having with him to figure out who he was? So that by the time he said, yeah, I'm here for the Reinhardt black tip pipes, you can go, oh man, I got my buddy Mike over here. He'll totally hook you up. And you've already found something out about the person. Remember, step one to any sales process can be summarized with one word: relationship. Are you figuring that out before you're turning the deal over? A warm handoff should stay on the right side and should be about the person, not the thing.
So I do that one a lot. I'll walk somebody from the front, and I'll walk up and, we make a half-assed attempt. Hey, Harrison, this is Pete, kind of like he described, right? But I may or may not have picked up anything format related with that person on the way. And we said last week that those couple of reviews we got didn't talk about the thing, right? We talked about how that changes what we're doing and why people come see us. And that works out in these handoffs. It works out when we do a parts pass. It works out when we do an orientation pass. It works out when we do an F&I 1. If you've ever noticed, when Chris does an F&I 1, he's there for a while. Like, he's gathering basic information is the idea. Let's make sure that we have all the I's dotted and the T's crossed. But he's there for a while. And the reason he's there for a while is he's making friends. He's getting that relationship started with that person. One of the things Chris Robinson will do, if he's at the desk with somebody and he's looking at numbers that don't really match up with what the customer might have told us they wanted, he'll keep that page face down on the table and just continue that conversation, continue building that relationship with that person before we ever go to numbers, right? That's where and how this place wins. It's the same with service. If we know the customer and we've learned a little bit about them and we've made friends with them, it's a lot easier to give them the bad news. Hey, you brought that thing in and it's gonna cost $1,200 to fix this four-wheeler. Because you've taken the transaction out of the conversation. This all goes back to, why do people come to see us? Why do people come to visit with us? Because the transaction, like I said last week or the week before, they can do that anywhere, right? Why do I prefer to go to Lowe's versus Menards? Lowe's is a better experience. The people are friendlier at Lowe's. They actually know what they're talking about. My favorite is one of the things Fleet Farm makes you do when you start working at Fleet Farm, even part-time, is you have to know the aisle number for everything they sell. Yeah, it's in aisle 52, left side. Who cares? Right? Who cares what the aisle number is? Come on with me, I'll show you where that is and help you make sure you get the right piece for that project you're working on. Make sense? We come back to this one a lot lately, and that's because I think we're doing really well with it, right? But I wonder if we're at 210 degrees or if we're at 212. Remember the boiling water simile? What happens at 212 degrees to water? It boils. So the conversation on that is the idea of a steam engine, right? A locomotive that runs on steam, how fast is it moving when the water's at 210 degrees? It doesn't, right? How much weight can it pull all the way across the country when the water's at 212 degrees? That's why we're hitting this so hard the last few weeks, is because if we can get past that boiling point on building these relationships with these people, that will drive everything else in this place. Fair? Okay. Speaking of reviews, we did have two over the weekend. Jay Williamson says, with his 5-star review, treated like family from the moment we walked in, received VIP service, introduced to team members, very impressed with the dealership. Jay Williamson had our green Honda Pioneer, the school bus one, the long one. And I can tell you that on Jay Williamson's delivery day, we didn't do anything special. Did we do anything different? We greeted him. We made friends with him. He had been here before. We just followed the basic delivery process steps and stuck to them. That's the review he gives us for doing that. Why? Because while we do that, what are we doing? We're bringing some of ourselves to the conversation with him. During those interactions, right? We're making friends. We know a little about him. We get to know him a little. Aaron Lemerind also gave us 5 stars with no comments. Those are the ones that are more interesting to me because they still chose to give us 5 stars. But they kind of didn't have to feel like they had to say anything about it. So I always wonder if that's better or worse, right? Okay. Extra Gear Award. I'm gonna set these down because I'm tiny here.
It's Tuesday.
Okay. Jeremy nominated Zach for being a fantastic mentor to Caleb and Dominic and teaching them tips and techniques about building and programming side-by-sides. Yes, thank you, Zach. David nominated the team. Everybody stayed busy on Saturday with answering phones and helping customers. How crazy was Saturday? Like, that was non-stop run the whole day. We got through it all. Everybody left happy. Nobody felt like they got ignored. It was a good day. So yeah, congrats. Great job, everybody. Chris R. nominated David for continually putting your best foot forward and giving customers the top-notch experience. That's one of the things David does every single day, is he's here with energy, he's ready to go, he's excited about what he's going to do for the day. So yes. Chris Robinson nominated Colback. You kept your cool with getting customers in and out of the box efficiently, also getting customers scheduled in for their desired date. I kind of put that to him because he was overbooked Friday and Saturday, right? Big time. And it couldn't really be helped. The customers bought something in a hurry, they wanted it out the door in a hurry, and Chris managed to just keep that box moving and keep that office moving and keep everything going. You know, you all know I sometimes in those situations, like, I get tense. Like, I'm watching everything going on, and all of a sudden I'm over by Mike, like, dude, where are we at with this parts pass? Like, what's going on? And Mike got buried Saturday morning because our 2 snowmobile customers tied him up till lunch. And you'll see me get stressed about that, and that's only because I'm worried about the customer experience, what they're thinking and feeling when some of those steps are taking too long. Chris was swamped, and he smiled the whole day. Good job, Chris. Robinson nominated Harrison for doing an awesome job with the walkthroughs when we were busy. That's something Harrison's been taking on, at least in the short term here, and I agree. Like, he's doing his homework, he knows the answers, he's following the steps in the process, so thank you for that. Robinson nominated Mike for doing an awesome job with all the parts passes in the short amount of time that was allotted. Great work, yes. Mike doesn't let it down. He doesn't do those halfway, even when he's pushed for time. He's making sure that that customer's getting all the stuff that they need or want for that new unit they're getting. And a lot of times he's just swamped while he's doing it. I love how many of these there are this week, guys. Thank you. This is cool. Derek Pope nominated Caleb. I don't know, has everybody met Derek at the other store? He nominated Caleb. Caleb, the last few weeks, has been coming to the dark side, to the Oshkosh Power Sports store, to learn and get units ready for the ice fishing. It was awesome having you here and seeing you learn and grow. So, good job to you. Thank you for taking that extra time out of your week and doing that. And Kobach nominated Chris R. and Dave. Great job managing all of our deliveries on Friday and Saturday, keeping it a smooth experience for our customers. Yes, thank you guys. One of the things that's difficult to keep track of is whether or not the person bought when they were here in the showroom, or if the deal got put together over the phone or over text message, which sometimes happens, because that changes that delivery process. It changes the experience they have when they come here, because we have to go through the tour, we have to go through a parts pass, we have to go through some steps that we don't have to do if they're coming to pick it up. And these two guys do a great job of keeping that in the back of their heads, like which one is a full process, which one is a delivery. So good job, guys. This week we're gonna give this to Zach. Zach has two young guys that are quickly becoming really valuable technicians to us. Zach's keeping the eyes in the back of his head open and making sure that he catches something or helps with something before it becomes a big problem. So thank you. Barring anything else, that's about all I have for today. Going back to the warm pass, there's something we measure every day. It's called transactional data. A lot of you guys haven't heard about it. The sales guys have. And what it is it's a measurement of how many parts invoices did we have, how many repair orders did we write in a day. That's how many transactions we have. And what we compare that to is how many leads did the sales department open with people in the store? How many quotes did we put together? Meaning we actually talked to them about something to the point that we talk numbers, which is the last thing we do is talk numbers. And how many things did we deliver? And when we talk about the warm pass, the goal of measuring those things is so that we can have some idea how many people that come in the store in a day we actually turn into they bought a machine from us while they're here. And it's something that you chip away at over time. You don't just automatically go to the right numbers. We're getting closer as we go. But that's where all these steps lead to. All of these things we talk about on Tuesdays, they all go to the same goal. Provide the customer experience. The customer experience leads to sales. Sales leads to profit. Profit leads to a growing store. Make sense? All right, let's have a great week. Thank you.